Hi guys,
Hello.
are you listening to me well? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Just the music so we can warm up a little bit. And today we're talking about communication and feedback and how to effective communicate and be listened. And before we start, just a few instructions for us. So turn off or mute your phones. We will have a break for you to reply your emails if you want to do it. Close all your other tabs. This material will be sent to you at the end of the training, so you don't need to worry about that. And this session is being recorded for compliance and quality purposes. Okay, are you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So knowing your communicator. So we are talking about me. So I graduated in business and I coursed an MBA in strategic planning and human resources back in Brazil. I have 7 years of experience in human resources and business administration. Also, I have 3 years in experience in consulting. And a fun fact about me is that I'm Brazilian and I don't play football at all. And I would like to know more about you guys. So who will start?
Hi, my name is Kevin. Uh, I am 29 years old, and I'm cheerleader of the Alpha Operation. There are 45 workers under my scope. I have been an engineer for more than 8 years, um, and I'm working for 5 years in construction, commercial building, and I love play video games in my
Well,
time off.
good to know. Nice to meet you, Kevin. And what about you, Victor? Victor, I think you were mute.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my bad.
that's okay. It
So,
happens.
my name is Victor. I'm 29 years old. I work as a supervisor of the commercial area, leading 15 commercial representatives. I guess it's 15. We sell what Kevin builds. We're selling the Alpha Project, Omega, and Beta. I have been in the commercial area since I was 18 years old, and I have been in the company for 6 years. And I love to cook it as a hobby, just as a hobby.
Nice to meet you, Victor. Dan, it's a pleasure to have you guys here for us training session today. And well, what to expect about the training? At the end of the training, you will be knowing the basics of communication. You will be able to communicate effectively. You will be able to provide a constructive feedback, and you will understand how communication and performance are connected, including engagement and motivation. And what are your expectations from this training?
I am struggling to communicate my team. Sometimes it seems that I'm speaking another language. I am expecting from this training to learn tools that will help me engage in the team and learn to give feedback. But basically, there are lots of deadlines to meet and feel that my communication is not being enough to keep them engaged to meet these deadlines.
Nice, nice. What about you, Victor?
So we suffer a huge pressure to reach the selling goals, and I'm expecting to learn the ways to keep the team motivated and engaged. Also, as Kevin, I want to improve the way I give my feedback to my team. I heard from a peer that I don't know how to motivate my team when we don't reach a goal. I usually give them a hard time instead of providing ways for them to reach the goals.
Oh, nice. So hopefully at the end of the training, you both will be able to do what you want to do. So the next step, we're gonna do a warm-up activity. So it's about giving and receiving instructions. So both of you, so you need to choose who is going to start. I'll send you one link separately with a picture. You will need to describe to each other this picture, what you are seeing. And so the other person can draw the picture at the exact same thing that you are seeing. So this is the two tasks, is to give instructions and to listen to instructions. You will have each 1 minute and 30 seconds. And at the end of it, we will compare our drawings, okay? So who's going to start?
Me?
Okay, then let me send you your link. Did you receive it?
Yes.
Okay. Just a second. Oh, are you ready?
Yes.
It's hard for us to give instructions and to listen to instructions. Sometimes it seems that it's simple. It's just some lines, but at the end of it, it's not, because we need to think about of the other person that is listening to it as a like a backpack with a lot of tools, and we need to understand how these people use these tools to understand the message that they are receiving. So the communication is the process of sending and receiving messages through verbal and non-verbal means. So you have written, you have spoken, you have signs. If I say this to you, it's a kind of communication. Sorry, and if you see, for example, in a restaurant, a sign or like 2 arrows, that means that you probably need to keep distance, a safe distance between other people. And we have some elements. We have a sender, we have a message, we have a receiver, and we have a channel, and we have a feedback. The sender is the person who is sending the message. In this case, for example, the sender, it's me. I am the sender. I am saying the message. I'm showing you written texts so you can see it, so it can help visualize the information, the message that I'm sending to you. So the message is the subject, the theme that I'm talking to, and also the message is the written things or the images that you are seeing on your screen right now. And we have the channel. The channel is the way that the message goes through. In this case, we have an internet. We have a connection between our computers. That is the channel. If, for example, if we are conversation in a room, we can see that maybe the air, it's a channel. Sometimes we have also noises in the channel. For example, imagine if we have a bad connection, if the connection falls down. So this is a noise in the connection. If we are trying to, if we imagine if we were in a room and we're talking about the communication subject, and there's a lot of outside noise, for example, buzzes or some construction sites, you maybe won't hear me well. So this is a noise in the communication in the channel. We have the receiver. In this case, both of you. And you were receiving the message, you were decoding it, and you are understanding it. And we have the feedback. The feedback is kind of a information that you give me saying that you are understanding the message. For example, a kind of feedback is like, are you keeping with me so far? Are you okay with that? So this is a feedback. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we can talk about it. So right here we have a little story, and we have two soldiers, and one soldier is probably shot. He's dying. He has blood in his chest, and he's saying, "I'm not gonna make it. Tell my wife I love her." And the other is saying, "I promise you," and he was shot. And you have, then he goes to another soldier, and you have to tell James' wife that he loves her. And he keeps repeating until one is able to pass the message to his wife. So, and she kind of say like, what do you mean of King Rob's parts? So it wasn't the same message as the beginning. So what happened in between of it? So talking about the elements, who is the sender of the message?
The first soldier, the was shot.
Yeah, exactly. So he's the sender of the message. He's sending the message. Who's the message? What is the message? Victor, you are mute.
I again, again,
It
something's.
happens.
Oh gosh! Tell my wife I love her.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the message. Tell my wife I love her. It's quite simple. It's clear. How in the end she understood. What do you mean, Jane grabs birds? What is a Jane grabs birds? So the channel is the all the soldiers. So he's passing the message through one another. What is the noise here? The noise here is that they are all dying. And who is the receiver of the message?
The wife.
Exactly, she's the receiver. And what can we think about as a feedback?
That the wife is repeating what the last soldier said, and doesn't make much sense.
She's repeating because that doesn't make any sense for her. So yeah, this is a pretty simple case, but this happens all the time in our work environment. So we have a quick case study here, and we will need to define, we need to define who's communicating to whom, about what, how, and why. What was the goal of the communication? We need to identify the communication error. So it was a poor task or audience analysis. Was it language? Was it the poor formatting or information? We need to explain what is the cost of this bad communication, what is the losses, and identify possible solutions or strategies that would have prevented the problem. So what was the benefits of it? So we have Bruce. Bruce is a researcher chemist for a major petrochemical company, and he wrote a dense report about some new compounds he had synthesized in the laboratory from oil refining byproducts. The bulk of the report consisted of tables listing their chemical and physical properties, diagrams of their molecular structure, chemical formulas, and computer printouts of the toxicity tests. Buried at the end of the report was a casual speculation that one of the compounds might be a particularly effective insecticide. 7 years later, the same oil company launched a major research program to find a more effective but environmentally friendly, safe insecticides. After 6 months of research, someone uncovered Bruce's report and his toxicity tests. A few hours of further testing confirmed that one of Bruce's compounds was the safe, economical insecticide they have been looking for. Bruce had since left the company because he felt that the importance of his research was not being appreciated. Well, who's communicating to whom?
Bruce is doing the research for the company he works for.
So the communication is the report, and he's communicating to the company because he was looking for some effective and safe insecticide. How he's communicating this message?
Write a report of his
Yeah,
finds.
exactly. And why?
He's trying to find an effective insecticide.
Yeah, exactly. And what was the goal of the communication?
Sorry,
Anyone?
I couldn't get the question.
What was the goal of the communication?
Try to make a report.
Yeah, he was trying to make a report and find an insecticide, safe insecticide. What is the error in the communication?
So he wrote an extensive report, but in the end, the conclusion was buried at the bottom of it.
Yeah, exactly. So nobody knew that the conclusion that he had. And what was the losses that happened with this bad communications?
His motivation.
Well, could you repeat that?
He could have been promoted at the time of the research, for example.
Yeah. And can you think about something else? You
So
said
he could
something.
have.
You said something first, and I couldn't understand. I think you were in the right way.
You mean he lost his motivation.
He was paying attention of the work that he was doing, but at the end of it, the result is that nobody knew that he was doing this kind of research and knew that he had this finding.
Yeah, that's what I tried to say with
Yeah.
being the conclusion was buried because no one could see
Exactly.
the result.
And what would be a strategy, a solution for this?
To avoid happening.
Yep.
So I guess he could have written the finding in the beginning.
Yep.
And presented to someone in not so technical language, for example. So people would understand and pass the message.
Yeah, exactly. We also have non-verbal communication. And this non-verbal communication are those communication not spoken or written. And the examples of non-verbal communications are images, we have facial expressions, we have voice tone, body language. And imagine if I say to you, I cannot do right now. It's something, you see, it was a simple facial expression, but I also can say, I'm not gonna do it right now. You see, my voice tone changed, my facial express changed, and you could see that I was angry. I was with some heat, you know. And the this non-verbal communication, it can empower and give a full meaning to the words. So it's really important that every time we're saying something, that we pay attention to our facial expressions, to our voice tone, to our body language. For example, if I do this here in the UK, this means a very bad thing. So it's similar if we do in Brazil like this. This is not a good thing at all. And we need to think about the cultural things. We need to think about from where this person came from, who is he, who is she, and what do they think about, I don't know, but what do they have as a cultural background? And are you get with me so far? Okay, if you have any questions, please again raise your hands. Be comfortable to ask. There's no problem in that. So you are responsible for people to understand what you have to say. Every time you are saying something to someone, you will need to think. In that case, for example, the first soldier, he could have, I don't know, wrote a letter. Maybe at the time he didn't have time for that, but yeah, it could be a way out, or maybe record. Okay, they were in a war, but it is just another solutions that it could help preventing that the noisy don't ruin the message and the understanding of the whole communication. So right now we are going for a break. You are free to go to whatever you want to do.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Oh, it's too loud. Let me just put the volume down. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, we are happy. I'm not gonna play this song right now. We are free to go in a break. If you wanna go, I will stop recording right now. And we are back in 3 minutes. Is that okay for you?
Okay.
Hi again, guys. We are back. Are you okay?
A bit tired, but fine.
Okay.
Why are you tired? Did you work today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see that. I promise you that won't take much longer. So let's go straight to the next subject then. We are going to talk about active listening. This is a good part, especially for you that is tired. And yeah, so what is active listening? Active listening refers to a pattern of listening that keeps you engaged with your conversation partner in a positive way. It is the process of listening attentively while someone speaks, paraphrasing and reflecting back what is said with no judgment and advice. And the benefits of active listening is that the other person will feel heard and valued. It is a form to build and establish a rapport, to gain trust from your peers, and it helps avoid missing critical information. For example, Kevin, imagine that you were in a construction site, you're passing by, and some worker come to you to tell about a problem. Even if you are busy, pay attention to what he is saying, because it can be important. It will help you avoiding missing a critical information, and also it helps you build a rapport between your colleagues. Victor, the same with your customers and with your team, to teach your team how to active listening to your customers. It's super important that we pay attention to what the other people are saying, the other person are saying. And you can do it by making eye contact, paraphrase what has been said, don't interrupt the other people, watch nonverbal behavior, show interest, asking questions, be open, neutral, without the judgment, be patient. This is extremely important, and avoid abruptly changing the subject, because if you do it, you may seem that you're not interested in what the other person is saying, is talking about. So try to be present, try to give yourself to that conversation. And we have here 2 examples. I'm just gonna play just one video, so that will be. So yeah, that was our video. You can see that the little girl was angry, and the mother didn't pay attention to it. So she didn't.
Hello and welcome to the
Hello again.
Communicational.
Previous. So she didn't pay attention to the non-verbal behavior because she was showing, demonstrating that she was angry. We could see from her facial expressions, and she was judging it, but somehow she wasn't understanding what the girl was saying. So the daddy came along, say that no judgment, or and she understood what the girl, why the girl was did the she ripped off the giraffe, and by the end of it, it turns out that the girl wanted the giraffe to fix it and to give to her brother, and she wasn't that jealous anymore. She wasn't that positive about the giraffe. But yeah, and feedback, it's not an advice. Not, oh, sorry, I changed the subject without even notice. But yeah, we're talking about feedback. We talked about communication, active listening, so speaking and listening. And this is part of feedback. The feedback is not an advice. It's not praise or evaluation. Feedback is information about how one is doing in an effort to reach a goal. Feedback can be given at any time in many forms. Just a simple thumbs up is a feedback. It's a feedback meaning you are doing great. Your efforts are nice. And yeah, this is a uh, uh, non-verbal communication. It's also a feedback. So how to use a feedback? A feedback, uh, it's to understand how an individual likes to receive. Oh, sorry. So you need to understand how an individual likes to receive feedback and to adjust the how you're going to communicate with that. So you need to fit to their preferences. It does not always have to be formal. Some people are used to give written feedbacks from 3 to 3 months, and no, this is not uh, good when you're talking about feedback, because the feedbacks need to be timely, reasonable. So provide feedback with both constructive and positive suggestions. Have a conversation with the individual and let them talk about it. Don't try to just talk yourself. Try to listen more. Maybe that person, maybe that worker that in your team is not reaching a goal because they're passing through some kind of problem. Maybe they don't understand what needs to be done. Maybe the first information that it was given to him wasn't good enough, wasn't clear enough for him to do the right job. So don't ignore what the others has to say. It's really important for you to understand without judgment. So time the feedback as close as possible to the event, the behavior. So don't leave to the next week for a behavior that can be done right now. So maybe next week maybe it's going to happen a huge issue because something is not doing properly right. So offer suggestions, answer questions, help and guide, like coach the individual in a way that could be done better. And more tips that, and this is kind of a repetitive, but yeah, it's really good to repeat that so we can get into your minds. But establish trust. Remember when we said that active listening can improve your report and also gain trust. So if you're listening to what the other uh, teammates are saying, you will establish trust and balance the positive and negative. Not everybody is doing only bad things. They also do the good things, and you need to acknowledge that. And observe, don't interpret. Try to observe the facts. Don't trust in your opinions on what you are thinking about as in a personal way. So don't make it personal. And provide feedback consistently. When you are providing feedback consistently, you have your team with you, always walking around the same goal. You don't leave anyone walking towards another thing. You always have the your team with you. So if you're saying that, oh no, this is not right, we can do it, we can do it this way, or no, 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 this way may be better. What do you think about doing this way? We'll ask questions. So you can ask how the person feel comfortable doing in a different way, maybe. And be timely. Don't leave it for next week, next month, for the when the performance meeting needs to be done once in a year. No, do it consistently. Be timely. Are you so far with me? Are you okay? Any questions? Okay, so we have a feedback sandwich. Feedback sandwich is kind of a tool to provide feedbacks. Why sandwich? Yeah, sandwich because we have a loaf of bread, we have meat, and another loaf of bread. And what is the worst part to digest is the meat. So it's usually the constructive feedback. It's something, uh, if we can say bad, not bad, but something that it can be done better. So you will start with a positive comment. You can start saying, for example, Victor, saying that it's good that your team uh, that your teammate increased the number of customers and the contacts that he made in that week. And however, and we go to the meat part, we go to the constructive criticism. And you can say, however, you were not selling. Why this is happening? And we again enter to ask questions, listen. So why this is happening? You will gather information that why this is happening. Maybe you will think that he doesn't want to uh, work. He's just lazy. But remember when we talked about feedback, don't take it personally. Try to understand what is happening. Maybe he's not having a good week. Maybe he's having some kind of problems at home. Maybe he just don't know how to talk about with customers and etc. And we have and provide support. Maybe you can reach a way to uh, how can I say that? Maybe you can talk with him that, oh, what do you think about uh, having another approach of selling your commercial buildings? What do you think about uh, having some kind of a meeting in the building that it's uh, for you to show the showrooms? And for an example for Kevin is the right amount of equipment, not equipment, material necessary, and it's increasing the costs. But you can start saying that he has done a good job because he's doing what it needs to be done. I don't know how does it works in your area, but you can talk about the cost and you can provide support of doing that. And it's pretty much if you try to use this kind of tool in your work area, it will be successful, and I'm pretty sure of it. And we're gonna need to exercise your feedback skills, but relax. This is not be going to be done right now. This is just evaluate your training. I'm gonna show you some a form. This form will be sent to you at the end of the training. It's a way for you to uh, exercise it, but it's evaluate of the training. So what was the trainer did it right on your point of view? This is the bread. This is the first slice of the bread. And how would you describe the way your train approach the subject? So it's another way of understanding what is happening. What needs to be improved? This is the meat. What would you do differently? This is the providing support. And would you recommend your training for a peer? And relax, you can write anything you want here. This is anonymous, so I won't know who's writing. And yeah, that's it, the training for today. I thank you for your time. Sorry if that takes too long. And if you have any questions, my email will be with you by the end of the training along with the evaluating form, and you can reach out to me through anything. Do you have anything to say? Any questions? Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.